welcome back to the cafe. You've tuned in to episode 5 of the Nichi Bei Cafe, a mixed plate of Japanese American news and culture. My name is Kelly Yokoi and I'll be your co-host for today's program.
And my name is Ryan Yamamoto and I'm your other co-host. This monthly live stream program is brought to you by the Nichi Bei Foundation and Nichi Bei Weekly.
Today, we are excited to present to you the 5th episode of the Nichi Bei Cafe called The Joy of Soy. It will feature stories around soy and tofu, as well as a preview of our very own Northern California Soy and Tofu Festival. We've got some great soybeans fermenting on the menu for you today.
The Nichi Bei Cafe is a place where we can all gather together and share stories of community and culture with you, right in your living space. Since many people are unable to go out and enjoy themselves, we hope to gather here in this virtual cafe. We have met some amazing people and heard some great stories so far.
If you enjoy what we are doing here at the cafe, please be sure to leave a like on this video and hit that subscribe button. Also, feel free to leave us a comment if you have any suggestions for future episodes or just want to say hi.
So without further delay, let's start the cafe. For our appetizer tonight, we want to offer a preview of our upcoming 2022 Soy and Tofu Festival coming back to the center of Japantown at the Japantown Peace Plaza on July 2nd. This is our first festival since 2019 and our first time back to the Peace Plaza since 2015. Be sure to mark your calendars.
Check out what's coming up in this short video. After a 3-year hiatus, the Northern California Soy and Tofu Festival, a celebration of the joy of soy, returns to San Francisco's Japantown Saturday, July 2nd from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. The festival will feature soy and tofu vendors such as Kikkoman, Morinaga Nutritional Foods, Hodo Soy, Bachan's Japanese BBQ Sauce, Nichi Bei Cafe, and more. Other things to look forward to are audience participation games, artists and vendors, and live performances by Larissa Lamb and Only One, the Ji Young Dragon and Lion Dance Association, the Wesley Ukulele Band, and the Nikkei Chorale Ensemble of UC Berkeley. Be sure to also participate in our raffle for 2 round-trip tickets to Japan, sponsored by Japan Airlines. Be sure to also look out for our official mascot, Cutie Tofuti. The event will be emceed by NBC Bay Area weekday traffic anchor Mike Inoue. For more information, please go to www.soyandtofufest.org. Proceeds to benefit the Nichi Bei Foundation, publishers of the nonprofit Japanese American community newspaper The Nichi Bei Weekly. Partial proceeds benefit the Nikkei Community Internship Program, administered by the Japanese Community Youth Council. If you are in the San Francisco Japantown area on July 2nd, please feel free to stop by the Soy and Tofu Festival at the Peace Plaza. You can learn more at soyandtofufest.org.
For tonight's salad portion, and to honor Pride Month in June, we have a video report from the Nichi Bei Weekly's Derek Tahara and our producer Greg Viloria on the We Are LGBTQ Nikkei exhibit now showing at the National Japanese American Historical Society in San Francisco's Japantown.
In a city where the pride flag is visible year-round, a little-known part of our Nikkei community is becoming very visible in San Francisco's Japantown, the LGBTQ Nikkei. Nichi Bei writer Derek Tahara sat down with Lillith Benjamin and Nichi Bei writer Tomo Hirai to discuss their We Are LGBTQ Nikkei exhibit at the National Japanese American Historical Society in San Francisco's Japantown. Let's listen in.
One thing is that as far as We Are LGBTQ Nikkei is concerned, initially I was contacted by Elena, who was working on the flag raising project separately. And my job was to go out into the community and start soliciting support for that project.
I am pretty open about being a trans woman, and our executive director Rosalind was like, well, you have to meet this person from the community. Her name is Tomo.
As Lillith said, there was some overlap and opportunity to work together.
It kind of snowballed and spiraled and kept getting ever bigger until it became a real thing. At first I thought it would be a panel show with just a little bit of history of LGBTQ Nikkei on it, and we ended up having a full artist show.
And it really was a one thing led to another of, well, we need to find artists. Like, okay, let me go find artists. And generally it was just networking with people and trying to find LGBTQ artists who are Nikkei, which is, there's more than you think there is, but they're hard to find, is what I found. How we curated this exhibition is that it's very broad in scope, asking for LGBTQ Nikkei art. You don't have to talk about social issues or anything just because you are a queer artist. And I wanted to kind of make the point that there are queer Japanese Americans in our community.
Oftentimes when marginalized identities are centered within an artistic show, you end up with this thing where it has to be about the trauma. This is something that we run into a lot here at Ninjas with the Japanese American experience. There's a live active culture, and queer culture is very similar. We didn't just want it to be about like, hey, revisit your trauma, like put this on display for an audience that isn't necessarily queer or Nikkei.
So I worked on two pieces previously through A Place of Her Own. As I said, I worked with Cynthia Tom back in 2017 through 2018 to create my first piece, Good Night, which is about my wish to comfortably rest most places and anywhere I go. I put in a Murphy bed inside of a cigar box so that I can take it with me wherever I go, so I can go to sleep and get the rest I need. I'm very tired all the time. And then the other piece is Words Unheard. Words Unheard is about about past traumas and things that are not quite tangible as far as things that people go through. And my piece addresses sort of the lack of communication that I'm facing with my father primarily, who is hard of hearing, and just trying to address what it's like to experience that. So how does this teach the broader JA community about queer Japanese Americans? Well, one thing is that I've been out as a trans woman since 2007, or 2006 really. As I say in the exhibition statement, the National Japanese American Citizens League endorsed gay marriage back in 1994. They were the first non-white civil rights organization to grant official support to gay marriage or marriage of same-sex couples at the time. But that sort of acceptance, that sort of rallying was more a them issue rather than an us issue. Japanese Americans kind of thought, okay, we should support LGBT folks because they supported us, not so much they are a part of our community. And that's kind of there's that invisible wall that I felt forever. Part of this exhibition was to really put my foot down and say that there's LGBTQ people within the Nikkei community, and they are a part of the community. You should accept them with open arms. Their issues are our issues, not their issues.
The We Are LGBTQ Nikkei is on exhibit through July 15th at the National Japanese American Historical Society Gallery, located at 1684 Post Street in San Francisco's Japantown. For more information, visit www.njahs.org or call 415-921-5007. This is Greg Viloria for Derek Tahara for the Nichi Bei Cafe.
Thanks to Greg and Derek for that story. If you would like to visit the exhibit, you can visit the Ninjas Gallery from 12 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, as well as the first Saturday of every month. The exhibit will run through July 15th.
And now for the main course. As you know, we are all about soy this month. We are honored to highlight one of the early supporters of the Soy and Tofu Festival, Hodo Soy. Having had modest beginnings working a Palo Alto Farmers Market booth, CEO Minh Tsai speaks on the origins of Hodo Soy and the direction of the Oakland-based plant-only food brand.
Please enjoy Hodo Soy's video.
I started Hodo more than a decade ago because I couldn't find good tofu and yuba. And in the process, I learned how to make it, and I tested it at the farmers markets. And from there, it blossomed into a viable business. Today, we're in 2,000 retail locations, from Michelin restaurants to Sweetgreen. We're in Chipotle chain of restaurants, but we started humbly at the farmers markets, just making tofu delicious, and we've grown ever since. My name is Minh Tsai. I'm the founder of Hodo Foods, a plant-based food company here in West Oakland, California. The mission of Hodo is quite simple. Make delicious, organic, non-GMO tofu and yuba for now, and make more delicious plant-based food in the future. West Oakland is a great place for a food company. We have about 130 employees. A lot of them are from the community. And our goal is really to teach a set of skills that requires them to learn about food safety and production safety. We do everything we can to walk the talk. And our talk is we make delicious food, but we also take care of our folks. I'm very lucky that I get to work with chefs. It's one of the greatest joys with working at Hodo. We do a lot of chef collaborations where we bring in chefs, we teach them about tofu and yuba, and then we have them create recipes with our ingredients. We get asked this question a lot, which is what's next? I think in the next few years, we're gonna double the size of the number of stores that we're gonna be in, so you'll find us easier. On top of that, we'll surprise you with really innovative and delicious products. I would love nothing more than for you to go to the grocery store, grab a pack of our Hodo tofu or yuba, and try it at home. It's gonna surprise you. Give it a try.
Now, onto our second main course. I am sure you have great memories of your grandmother, and if you are Japanese or Japanese American, you may have called her Bachan or O-Bachan. So our next segment features Bachan's Japanese BBQ Sauce, a local favorite based in the North Bay city of Sebastopol that is now in markets across the country.
Nichi Bei Weekly contributing writer Akiko Minaga and our producer Greg Viloria recently interviewed Bachan's founder and CEO Justin Gill, a fourth-generation Japanese American who talked about his number one fan, his Bachan. Please enjoy.
As we saw a 116-year-old beloved business in our community close its doors, new legacies are born in our community as well. Akiko Minaga caught up with Justin Gill, founder and CEO of Bachan's, a Sebastopol-based food business specializing in the family's secret sauce recipe from his beloved Bachan. Let's hear about Justin's story.
For our business, for our sauce, our brand is named Bachan's, and it's named after my Bachan. So before the war, she was living in Sebastopol, and she during the war was taken to Camp Amachi in Colorado, and after they were released, she came back actually to Sebastopol, and she lived along with her family on an apple ranch here in Sebastopol, the Perry Apple Ranch. She's who our brand is named after, and I'm honored to do that. And she's who taught my parents how to make our sauce, our multi-generational family sauce, and they all together taught me when I was a young kid. I just noticed, from a young age, how much people loved our family sauce, and just thought it would be really cool to bring it to market one day. So yeah, fast forward to about 2013, and I decided to kind of take a shot at bringing our sauce to market, and I went to all the co-packers here in Northern California, all the formulators, and I took them our family recipe. And I didn't know much about really anything about food production. I studied horticulture science in school. I talked to all the co-packers and formulators, and just saw a pattern develop really quickly that they all told me that to commercialize our family sauce, I would need to pasteurize it and then add water to it to bring the cost of the ingredients down. And so I tried that, and it just completely changed everything about the sauce. I mean, if I was gonna do this and it was gonna represent our family legacy, I wanted to make sure it was, had the integrity of the product that I grew up with and loved so much, and all of our family friends also loved. So I started to kind of work on formulating the sauce myself. It is, perfecting everything, like it's just something that I've always done. And when I took my family to actually on a heritage trip. My wife is Cambodian. We went to Cambodia for 2 weeks, and then we went to Japan for 2 weeks after that. And it was in 2017. It was right kind of in the middle when I was getting very close to finishing, the sauce. And I went over to Japan, went to Kyoto, and went to Tokyo, and for the first time, and just had so many questions about myself answered. And I think one of the things that I really appreciated is just how much pride they took in their craft, and how much they had this singular focus, and so that just really kind of inspired me to a whole new level. When I got back from the trip, that's when I really started stepping on the gas. And having a little background in science, I was able to, over about a 2-year period, just doing it on the side, was able to finally figure out how to make our sauce cold filled and shelf stable. And during that time, I actually elevated the ingredients that we used growing up and sourced, the best ingredients in the world. I took that back to the same co-packers, and none of them wanted to take on the business. And one of them in particular, as I was telling him about all these ingredients that I sourced and how great they were, he kind of stopped me in my tracks and said, listen, your ingredients don't matter. And all that matters is how much money you have to market this product. So I disagreed with him and left their facility. And actually, today our tagline and something we had trademarked from that period is "Our ingredients matter." So after that, I went down to Southern California, couldn't find anyone here in Northern Cal, and found a co-packer that would take on the business that I thought would, meet the quality standards that I had. And my wife and I went down on our 15-year wedding anniversary, got our first production run done, brought the pallets back, and started selling right away. We went and did, demos at local stores here, started selling out on the shelf. We launched a website, started selling direct to consumer. Everything was going really well, and then the pandemic, hit, and we started, shipping from our home. Our kids were all home, so we used to pack the orders at our house. My bachan would come over, and my mom, and we'd get everything boxed up and then I would take a drive down to the post office with my kids, and we unload all the packages, and we were doing that a few times a week. And then we started doing it every day, and then our whole house kind of turned into a distribution center, and then ended up closing 2020 with really strong sales with our, original Japanese barbecue sauce. And then 2021, we introduced some new SKUs, some new products to the market. We brought out a gluten-free version, a hot and spicy, and then a yuzu. Part of doing this business for me, one part was for my family legacy, to also teach my kids, what you can do, what you can achieve in the world if you work really hard and believe in yourself and keep persevering. And the other part was to be able to share Japanese American culture, with the rest of the world. And that's something that we do with intention, and something that we do in I think a very inclusive way. So that has been awesome, and that's something I saw my family do growing up. My bachan, my jichan, my auntie and uncles, they shared their culture and would have their friends, from all different cultures over, and so to be able to do that and carry that forward is meaningful for me too. So there's a lot of them. They're just little sayings and things that I picked up on and remembered throughout my whole life that my bachan would tell me, and my brothers and sisters. One of them is the world is your oyster, and she still writes that, and so does my mom, actually, on all of our birthday cards and Christmas cards and things.
And Bachan's Japanese barbecue sauce continues to be the pearl from Sebastopol. This is great Viloria for Akiko Minaga for the Nichi Bei Cafe.
Who doesn't love their grandma, right, Kelly? Thanks to Justin Gill for the interview.
Next, we'll take a dessert break with our resident origami ambassador, Linda Mihara of Paper Tree in San Francisco's Japantown, who will show us how to fold an appropriately festive origami tofu.
Hi, I'm Linda Mihara, and welcome to the Nichi Bei Cafe. And today I'm going to show you how to do a really cool model that was designed specifically for the Soy and Tofu Festival coming up this weekend. We certainly hope you come by and enjoy all those festivities, but I'm going to show you how to do an origami tofu. And for this occasion, my sister Vicky Mihara Avery designed a template that has Mr. and Mrs. Cutie Tofuri on it, which is really cool. And it looks like this. And so for download directions, wait to the end of the program. We're going to have a link to do that, to download your own tofu cube, Mr. and Mrs. Cutie Tofuri. But for now, if you just have a plain sheet of copy paper, this is all you need for this model. And when you make, an easy way to make a square is if you take your paper and make a triangle and then trim off the excess. That will create your square that you'll be ready to do this model. So I'm going to be folding both a version with the template as well as with the regular copy paper so that you can kind of get to know this model easier that way. I'm going to leave that folded into a triangle. On the template, you will see there are two different dotted lines, and those are directional folds that are really important in the world of origami. The ones that go across the template has a long bar and two short bars, a long bar and two short bars. That is called a mountain fold. If you think of the letter M, mountain, it's got two long bars and two short bars, and that creates the mountain fold and is indicated by that series of lines. A mountain fold is exactly that. You're going to take the paper and you're going to fold it to create a mountain. So this is what a mountain fold is, okay? The other dotted line that you see there is just a regular dotted line, and this is called a valley fold. If you think of the letter V, it's two even bars, and that's what the dotted line looks like. It's just even bars going across. And on a valley fold, what you're doing is you're taking the paper and you're creating a valley, so it goes this way. So this is a valley fold, and this is a mountain fold. And those are the two basic folds that you see on the template here. But I'm certainly going to walk you through that with the plain paper. So for the template, we want to create two mountain folds going across. And the best way to do that is actually to turn it over, and you're actually going to fold the valley fold on this side, because that creates the mountain fold on this side. So we want to fold it into a triangle. This is already folded into a triangle, which is great. And now what we want to do is we want to open this up, rotate, and fold the other triangle. So we need to do both diagonals that way. So let's go ahead and do that with the plain white paper. We're going to rotate and fold that into the second triangle. And so that's what you have there. The next step is to unfold it and turn it over so that you have the characters face up like this. And on the plain white paper, you want to open it up and you want to turn it over. This is really important because we're going to do a different directional fold here. And the paper should look like it's kind of coming up like a little pyramid. That's when you know you have the correct side. What we want to do on the template one is we want to fold a line that goes right through the middle here, and by folding a rectangle. So let's go ahead and do that on this side. So we folded a rectangle here. Same thing for here. We're going to go ahead and fold a rectangle. When you fold a rectangle, you want to line up one corner, and then you can kind of peek to see if you're lined up there, and then you should be lined up here. And then if you start your fold from the middle and work your way out, the paper doesn't shift, and it's an easier way to get an accurate fold. Okay, so now that we have those, let's go ahead and open up the template. And what you want to do is push up from behind it. And what happens is it pops up just like this. And then you gather the paper together and you're just following along the valleys and mountains that you've created, so that now you have this. This is called a balloon base in the world of origami. So that's what your template should look like. For your plain paper, you open it up, and then from the back you push it up and it pops up like this. You gather the paper together just like that, and then go ahead and flatten it out. So now you should have two flaps, same goes for the one in the template, two flaps. So now the next step is to take just the top flap, and here's your valley fold that goes across here. We have a valley fold here, and we have a valley fold here. And that's the next fold that we're going to do. So we're going to take this point and bring it up to the top of the triangle here, and then make your crease. And the same for the other flap on the other side, just the top flap, so that you have your other two flaps remaining behind, just like this. Let's go ahead and do that with the plain one. Taking this point and bringing it all the way to the top. And again, for this side here, bringing that up to the top. Okay, so now that you have that, the template has these lines here. Again, these are valley folds, and so what you want to do is take this outer point here and fold it to the center, like that. And the same for the opposite side here. Bring that over, it should meet here in the center. So it should look like this. Let's do that with the plain white paper. It's these points that go to the center. So let's go ahead and do that. And the same for the other side. Bring that into the center. Okay. You can use a creasing tool, the back of a spoon, or let's say a Sharpie marker, and go along this, and because you have a lot of layers of paper, and it helps you keep the folds nice and flat. I'm just going to use my nail just to kind of make it nice and flat. Okay, so now the next step is really cool. I'm going to rotate these guys here. If you look here at the top, you have these two flaps. And what we want to do is take these flaps and fold it along the edge of the pocket here. If you look here, there's a little pocket, okay? So there's one pocket there, there's one pocket there. And what we want to do is we want to put these inside the pocket, and there's an easy way to do that, and that is, here's your valley fold again. You want to take this flap and fold it over the triangle, and then fold it back over like that. Then you find your pocket. So let's go ahead and look underneath. Here's your pocket. Well, let's go ahead and open it up and tuck this inside. Let's get it inside. It should tuck inside. So it'll fit like that. Let's do the same for the other side. So let's take this flap and fold it over. It just kind of hugs that flap there. Put that fold in place and then fold it back on top of itself like that. And then you reach inside the pocket and then go ahead and insert that inside the pocket. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and do that for this side here too. So we want to take the flap, you see these two flaps here. Let's take one and we're just going to fold it up and over that triangular flap and then continue by folding it back onto itself, creating a smaller triangle like that. You lift it up, open the pocket, and tuck that flap inside, just like this. And the same for the final one here. We're going to take this and fold it over the edge of the pocket and back onto itself there. And then let's reach inside, get the pocket, and tuck this inside the pocket just like that. Okay, so now we've done one side of this model. Now we're going to turn it over and do the same thing for the other side. Here are your valley folds here. So the one with the template, you want to take your points and bring it up to the top. And then that's, you know, those lines are there as a guide, which is great. Okay. And then we're going to take these 2 points and fold it into the center. So let's go ahead and do that. And that should, you'll have a split in the layers of paper here, and that's the center of this model. And so that's what you want to, where you want it to go. You want to try to get as accurate to the center as possible so that way you have a nice cube. Okay, so we have that. Let's go ahead and do that for this model. It's this point up to the top. And then this point up to the top. And then these 2 points that come to the center. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And this one comes over just like that. And let's go ahead and reinforce that because you've got a lot of layers of paper. Okay. And now the finish for this is we need to tuck the flaps into the pocket. Okay, so I'm going to rotate the model. And here are your loose flaps. So let's take this one. Here's your valley fold mark there. So we're going to valley fold across that flap and fold it back onto itself. You'll see that there's another valley fold mark here on this side. And then open the pocket. So you do have to lift this out of the way to get to the pocket, and then you can go ahead and tuck it inside just like this. Okay. And then the same for this. So we take this flap, fold it over the triangle, and then back onto itself. Lift it up, find the pocket, and tuck it inside. Like that. So we finished that model. So let's go ahead and complete this one. I'm going to rotate it. We have these 2 flaps here. We're going to take this and fold it over, valley fold it over that flap, and back onto itself like this. Lift and open the pocket and tuck it inside the pocket like that. And then the final one, we take the flap and fold it, valley fold it against the flap there. Fold it back onto itself there. And then find the pocket and tuck this inside. Okay, so now we've completed the folding process for this model. And what's really cool is the one with the template, you'll see if you peek inside the layers, you've got Mr. and Mrs. Tofuri there. And at the top, there's a little hole. And let's go ahead and do this one first. So the plain one, what you want to do is actually divide the layers so that it's kind of even like this. So it looks like an X from the top, like I did here, okay? You want to very gently, okay, so find the hole is right here, and you want to gently hold it with all 4 like this, and you just give it a good quick puff right here at the hole. So there we go. It pops open like this, and to finish it off, what you want to do is kind of make it more cube-like by kind of stretching the sides and flattening them like this. And we kind of do this, like that. Just kind of give it a gentle pinch. If you cut tofu, it doesn't have an exact sharp edge to it, so that's okay. All right, so that's the plain tofu. You can go ahead and make your own face and decorate it the way you want to do that. Make a cool little face. But for Mr. and Mrs. Cutie Tofuti, let's go ahead and blow this one up. Whoa. Yeah, one quick puff should do it. And then let's go ahead and square this off. And by squaring it off, you just kind of pull the edges. You know, if you pull from here, that will allow you to get a nice stretch of the paper on that side. And you just kind of pinch it in the middle, and that will give you your nice cube shape. And there we go. So we have our wonderful tofu, origami tofu, cutie tofutis for the Soy and Tofu Festival this year. Thank you and enjoy.
Remember, you can download the template for the tofu origami at soyandtofufest.org. This features character design by Ben Cam of makimino.com. Next, we want to give you a second dessert because you have been a loyal audience for the past 4 episodes.
Who loves pie? Well, Torrance-based Morinaga Nutritional Foods, founded in 1985 and constant supporter of the Soy and Tofu Festival, wants to entice you with a video on how to make their tofu chocolate silk pie. Yum!
Hi, welcome to What You Can Do with Mori New. I'm your host, Sophie Snow, and we're here today with Pierce Abernathy. Hi, Pierce.
Hi, Sophie. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm very, very excited to see what we're going to do with this.
Today, we're making chocolate silk pie with Mori New Silk and Tofu Organic. Mori New has the perfect texture for a velvety, smooth pie filling.
I don't know about you, but I love pie and I love chocolate. Being so creamy and velvety, you know, there's not too many ingredients in here. It's quick, it's easy, and it's delicious. We're gonna start with graham crackers. A good pie starts with a good crust. We want about 1 3/4 cup of graham cracker crumbs, so that's about 14 graham crackers here. We'll go ahead and pulse the graham crackers until they form a nice fine crumb.
There you go.
Thank you. So we'll go ahead and add this to our bowl. We're going to add sugar, about 1/4 cup, 6 tablespoons of butter. All right, we're gonna give this a mix until it starts looking like wet sand. We're gonna go ahead and place this in our pie dish. And what I love to do is take any kind of measuring cup, and this helps me press and form this, this crust. This is kind of the part where you get to play with your food. You know, pie doesn't have to be perfect.
Right.
You know.
Homemade pies are always the best.
Absolutely. Well, I'm pretty happy with that. How do you think that looks?
I think it's gorgeous. Great job.
So take this to the oven?
Take it to the oven, yep.
All right, Sophie, our crust is baking. Now it's time to assemble our filling. 3 ingredients. We have the Mori New Silk and Tofu Organic, sugar, and melted chocolate chips.
Sounds easy.
So to a blender, first we'll cut up our tofu here.
Now, Mori New Silk and Tofu Organic is perfect for a pie filling because it adds protein as well as the velvety texture that blends really well. It has 4 grams of protein for a 3-ounce serving.
Lovely. Follow up with a 1/2 cup of sugar or melted chocolate chips.
Get all that chocolatey goodness in there.
All right, our 3 ingredient pie filling is in the blender. All we have to do is blend.
Sounds easy.
That looks great. I'm gonna go grab the pie crust and let's fill it. Wow, look at this.
That's gorgeous.
I think we did an okay job.
Morinaga silken tofu is velvety, so it helps the pie filling have this smooth texture.
I'm gonna let you do the whipped cream, and I'll follow up with some chocolate shavings.
Okay.
Beautiful. And the great thing about this recipe too is, you know, for the crust, you can swap vegan butter. You can use coconut cream or aquafaba as a whipped cream topping as well. So this can be completely vegan. Now that looks beautiful. I'll come in here with a few chocolate shavings. All you need is a vegetable peeler and some hardened chocolate, and you get these beautiful chocolate shavings. And I think we have our pie. Now, as much as I want to eat this right now, you gotta ideally chill it overnight. Sophie, the time has come.
Wow, that looks amazing.
It's finally set. Okay. All of our hard work. Ooh.
That looks beautiful. Wow, that is gorgeous. You could really see how smooth and velvety that filling is.
You know, that ratio of cream to filling, it's perfect. Oh my God. If you told people this is made with tofu, their minds would be blown.
So this is delicious, and they'll be amazed. Hope you were inspired to make a chocolate silk pie with Morinaga silken tofu. Go to morinaga.com for this recipe and more. And don't forget to join Morinaga Rewards.
Next up for our nightcap is a recipe for Agadashi Tofu from Namiko Chen of Just One Cookbook. Agadashi Tofu is a popular appetizer, even though this is the nightcap, or you can commonly find it at an izakaya-style Japanese restaurant. It requires deep frying, but Namiko makes it easy.
Our tips for this month will highlight events that are featured in our Japanese American Community Resource Guide and Obon issue, as well as a list of community events coming up in the next month.
First, we would again like to remind you to visit our Soy and Tofu Festival, which will take place on Saturday, July 2nd. Be sure to visit soyandtofufest.org or the festival's social media for the latest updates. Thank you for joining us for the 5th episode of the Nichi Bei Cafe. We hope that you enjoyed our show and will come back to hang out at the cafe in the coming months. Next month, we will be highlighting a curated menu from our annual Obon Guide and summer book review.
As always, we'd like to thank the Henry and Tomoye Takahashi Charitable Foundation for their very generous support of the Nichi Bei Cafe. We greatly appreciate our collaboration with you in finding new ways to engage our community during this unprecedented pandemic.
In this episode, we focused on a preview of our 2022 Soy and Tofu Festival. If you are in the area on July 2nd, feel free to stop by and say hello.
The Soy and Tofu Festival is one of the Nichi Bei Foundation's biggest fundraising and community events, and we are very excited to announce its return. So we hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more.
Thanks again for joining us at the Nichi Bei Cafe.